This is the Mobile Tech Podcast, brought to you by worldpodcasts.com. Now here's your host, Tech Girl, Miriam Joie.
Brought to you by Mint Mobile. Stay tuned for a special offer at the end of the show. Hi, and welcome to the Mobile Tech Podcast. I'm your host, Miriam Joie, and today is Thursday, February 5, 2026, and I've got the excellent Kevin Nether here. Hey, Kevin, how's it going?
Going pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm all right, as all right as you can be in this crazy world we live in right now.
Yeah, no kidding.
But, I saw some cool stuff on your YouTube, and also there's a bunch of, teasers, leaks, rumors coming. MWC is around the corner, so we're going to get kind of a volley of new phones. Samsung's coming too. So let's cover some of that. I want to start with your Sony LinkBuds Clip that you reviewed on your channel recently. I didn't get a review in it, but dude, they look pretty cool. I'm not a big fan of open earbuds personally, but I hear great things about these. So what is your take?
Yeah, so same here. I'm not a big fan of open earbuds. I've played with the Bose, I played with Motorola, and there's nothing about them that makes me want to pick them back up when I'm done. But with the Sony, for some reason, it was just, I think the comfort was the big one, where I had it in my ear during the whole day and I didn't even know it was there. And with great battery life, I think 8 hours of battery life, conservatively speaking, 8 hours of battery life, I would just have one in my ear throughout the day. And as things came up, I was able to respond to messages with my voice and, do things around the house. And it was just very comfortable instead of using earbuds, putting them in transparency mode or whatever. You just have those where you can still hear. And the sound was actually pretty good too. It's if I was listening to a podcast or some music, I was okay with it. Obviously, if I want better music, you put some cans on or you blast your speaker system. Yeah. But it was just I think productivity earbuds, if that's such a thing, maybe that's a new category. I think for those day to day, just earbuds, great. Take them to the store, keep them in the house, keep them in your car. If you got to hop on a quick call or something, just really great.
Sweet. Yeah. I, just to be clear, did not watch your video on purpose because I wanted to be fresh, not be influenced by your thoughts. So what's the price point on these?
The price point, I believe, $229, which, and that was kind of my big
Sony
thing.
Tax, right?
Yeah, but at the end of the video, that was sort of my thing, and I sort of start speaking about other open earbuds on the market in those price points. It gets tough. So Sony price tax is definitely a thing. But the funny thing is, not to get off topic too much, the Sony home theater audio actually is marked well. I feel like it could be underpriced at times. So listening to their personal audio being overpriced, it's sort of weird to me. So yeah, the pricing definitely puts it out there for a lot of people. And that was a lot of people's comments in my video too. They were like, you had me till the price. And I have to agree. Yeah.
I think one of the things I like the best about Sony's products, the headphones and stuff is, and I'm not wearing the Sonys right now, but I have the XM5s and XM6s. I use the XM5s around the house and the 6s around when I travel. But I think what I like about them is, the software is really complete. You have a lot of settings you can tweak. And for somebody like me who really cares about audio, it's nice to have that. And I think the other thing is, you get quality, right? You get quality materials, you get good battery life. Everything generally hits the spot. And if they have ANC, which these don't because they're open, but if they have, if they're doing normal earbuds or headphones, the ANC is always really solid. Sound quality is the other thing, right? You cannot mess with Sony's sound quality. They nail it every time. And I think people just don't, I think a lot of people don't think about that because maybe they're not used to good sound, or maybe they don't care because they're just going to the gym or something, or listen to podcasts, in which case sound quality is definitely less critical, right? So I think that, I kind of call it the Sony personal audio tax. I think that has always been the case. Even back in the day when they did wired headphones and stuff, it was more expensive than the competition. And so I think they're going with that. And I feel like they can get away with it. Honestly, right now, I've tested a lot of wireless earbuds and headphones, and the headphones for sure. I would not pick anything else but Sony right now. That is me, There are others.
Same here.
There's some sound better. Some have better ANC like Bose.
Yeah.
But they don't have the complete package. That's what I love about it. And I feel like those clips, from what you're talking, is the complete package for an open earbud.
Yeah, definitely. for travel headphones, XM6. Like I had the XM5s and they were great, and then the XM6 came out, started using those, and I was like, okay, these are great too, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, they can fold down now, which is really nice. So yeah, I mean, Sony definitely you definitely get what you're paying for with Sony, but it is a lot of people don't know what good audio is. So for example,
Right.
a lot of people who have an audio bias, they like lots of bass, they like fun, clashy music. They'll gravitate towards a certain earbuds. What I like about Sony, without bearing the lead about some videos I have coming up, what I love about Sony is that you can dial in your EQs. And for me,
Exactly.
as a person who loves audio, but I look at an EQ. I don't know what it's called, an EQ meter, EQ graph.
Like
I don't even know what it's called, but I can look at it and I don't know what the toggles are. So they have that feature where it will play different sounds. So do you like this or do you like that? Do you like this? Do you like that? You can build an EQ that way. So I have my custom EQs saved, and when I get a new device, I register it, and then my EQs are already applied to it, and they sound fantastic to me, like out of the box without tweaking anything. So I really do enjoy that about Sony.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, this the app, the fact that you can save your settings, you can recall your settings. I mean, it's all really nice. And I think that, you know, there's not the only ones, right? Like if you look at OnePlus and Nothing, they have the same things. They cost a little less. I use the OnePlus and the Nothing earbuds a lot. I really like them, particularly the OnePlus buds are really great. Even their mid-range ones. Again, in every category, very well balanced. And you know, if you want value, that's what I recommend to people. I'm like, if you don't want to spend, you know, the Sony tax, at least on earbuds, because on headphones, I'm always going to go Sony. But on earbuds, if you don't want to pay the tax of Apple or Sony, you know, go for OnePlus, go for Nothing. They're really good for the money. They have that EQ, the settings in the apps. Nothing even lets you share the EQ settings with a friend by emailing them like this
Oh,
or
that's cool.
sharing this file if you want. It's very cool.
That's cool.
So you know,
Yeah.
I think that they curate some too. I think that on the app you can like they
They do,
had,
yep.
you know, how they curate the phone, the custom colors and stuff. They also have curated some EQ settings for people from the community. I think it's cool. And OnePlus, I think, is really nailing it in terms of value, well-rounded value, like great sound, great battery life, great ANC, and you get like $100 off of what you would pay on a pair of Sony or Apple for the equivalent performance, right? So I don't know. I'm excited. You know, I just want to mention, since we're briefly talking here about Sony's other earbuds, there is rumors of the WF XM6s coming out, which are going to be the latest of their high-end wireless noise canceling in earbuds. So, you know, we'll see what happens there, obviously, but they've always been super great too. The reason that they're not my go-to is that they're just so expensive. And in the past, at least, they've been bulky and uncomfortable. That's the other thing, right? You said comfort on the Clip. I think the thing about the OnePlus and the Nothing for me is comfort. Whereas like you remember when Sony made the LinkBuds S, which were
I do remember,
like in ear, they weren't like open. They had ANC. Those were way more comfortable to me than their WF series, which are the high-end ones. And so I'm really hoping that whatever this leak is, this rumor that is another version is coming, which makes sense because they generally come out with the headphones and about a year later with the earbuds. And we got the headphones about a year ago, right? So I think when they do that, I hope that they're smaller and more comfortable and still deliver that. Yes, the Sony tax I'm willing to pay if the sound quality is exquisite and the ANC is superb and the battery life is great. So I hope they nail it. I think they will. I think it's still going to be a hard sell for a lot of people, as you said, from pricing point of view. So
the pricing is really tough because there's a lot of great. I feel like the bottom level of wireless earbuds are so good now that it's really hard to justify spending $150, $200 on top of that for a lot of people.
And that's what I'm saying.
Earbuds are so, and just like you said about the OnePlus and also Nothing, like their earbuds are so good and so cheap. So it takes a very specific person that shopper who knows exactly what they're looking for in that moment to buy those. Like they're not shopping around. They say, I want these Sony ones, and they go there and get it. They're not going to their local Best Buy or what have you and looking around at earbuds and figuring it out. Like they know exactly what they want.
Exactly. You're right. I mean, that's the thing. And so, I think that there's room for these just in the same way as there's room for AirPods because, well, the tight integration with the Apple ecosystem, the auto switching, between devices is still something that I think Apple nails above everyone else, right?
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
not flawless, but it generally works pretty well. So I think Sony is just a different approach. And if you have the means, I say, like go for it. I personally would never rock the open ones. Like that's not my thing. I really like to
Yeah.
immerse. I don't, I'm not too worried about like I'm aware of my surroundings when I'm walking on the street. So I'm careful. And I just like this kind of like, like tune the world out while I go for my
Yeah.
walk to get my coffee kind of thing. And then for the, in the plane, of course, you want ANC.
Oh
And I feel
yeah.
like earbuds just don't quite deliver the same level of ANC as headphones. I'm always amazed when I see people with their AirPods Pros or their Sony WFs or their, whatever it might be, Bose quiet, like
Yeah. The
earbuds.
quiet
Because I'm like,
comfort.
on a
Yeah.
plane, earbuds, you're
I
really pushing it. Because like
Yeah, you know what? I've actually on shorter flights, I'm okay wearing the
it's
AirPods
okay.
because the
All
AirPods
right.
Pro,
So
yeah,
it's
the AirPods
working
Pro
well
3
enough.
do it does the three specifically when it comes to noise cancellation, like in my opinion, they are the industry standard, even compared to Bose when it comes to just the
With the
AirPods. When it
earbuds,
comes
yeah.
like either the AirBuds, yeah, when it I think noise cancellation is the best I have ever used. Um and so shorter
Cool.
flights, yes, like an hour and a half flight, 2 hour flight, fine. Coast to coast, no, definitely not. But for a couple hours, like I can definitely do it. It's got a lot better over the past few years for sure.
That's very cool. Well, yeah. So
Yeah,
I think, if you're looking for open earbuds, consider those if you can afford them. I'm sure they sound better than anything else. And also, I like this design. This general, it's not just Sony, right? Like Moto did
yeah,
it. I've got a pair of Realme buds like that too. This idea, like I call it the barbell, right? Like it's like a curved barbell basically with like
yeah,
battery on one end,
yeah.
driver
It's
on the other
interesting.
end. This design
Yeah,
is gold. Like whoever came up with this
yeah,
first, I think is China, but like man, they nailed it. And Sony just went with it. And I think that's totally
yeah.
cool,
So
because the alternative to me is have you ever used the Nothing Ear Open? They're open ones.
yes,
So they
yes.
hook, they hook behind the ear. They have that
They hook
hook kind of
around.
thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
they sound
yeah,
incredible. Like they are
yeah,
great. But again, I don't like open. And on top
yeah.
of that, they're
The
bulky,
fit,
right?
and the
Like compared
yeah,
to
the fit
these
was
little
weird.
barbell things, they're just,
Yeah.
yeah.
The Also Sony includes like a little extra piece that will also go on your actual like on your ear too, that it's optional, that will push against it to add even more stabilization. And I tested it without that and I didn't even realize they were in the box till like a week later and I saw them and I put them on. I was like, this is even better. So there's like a third piece that connects to your ear even more, which is great. And it's great that it's optional because some people may not even want that, but it's like a little gel piece that sits there and it's even better. So I really like them.
Yeah, they've thought it out. All right, so keep an eye out for these new WFs. I think they're coming at some point soon. I wouldn't be surprised. There'll be some reviews out there, so I'm looking forward to it. I'll beg like I always do to see if Sony will send me a pair once the time comes. They did finally send me WHs, the six, the headphones.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
took a little while, and then they wanted them back, and I'm like, I really need to test these long term. That's what it's about, right? So, like, I don't
Hmm.
understand like a week with these. Like, I don't if you don't have a flight
That's
schedule,
not,
you're
yeah.
not gonna test flight. Like, so anyway, I pushed back a little bit, but yeah, I wish more companies would be willing to do long-term products because it's just that's what our audience wants to know, right? Like in a week you can be excited, you get that honeymoon phase too, it sounds great, but then you find use cases where you're like, oh, for me, one of the drawbacks of the XM6s, the headphones, has been that I'm getting some connectivity issues with them on my Pixel when I fly. So it's
Mm.
fine. It's very rare, but every now and then I'm
Hmm.
like, they seem to be less robust in terms of software than they
Yeah.
were on the XM3s and XM4s and even the
Hmm.
XM5s that I had before. And I mean, it could just be Pixel specific. Who knows? Because that's kind of my main phone when I travel. But I think
Yeah.
that like that wouldn't I wouldn't let that deter me from buying them. It's not like a showstopper. It's just, these are the things you find out when you're long-term use. Like if you're just using it for a month, you're not going to run into that. So it's interesting. Let's switch to some other stuff. So speaking actually of staying in the audio field, Nothing has made a really great pair of headphones last year. I had some reservations. They're a little heavy and not the most comfortable, I find, in terms of weight. But sound quality is great, ANC is great, battery life is great, controls are cool. Design, of course, is very polarizing. I personally don't have a problem with wearing R2D2 style headphones on my head. That's kind of what I remind me of a lot, right? But to be frank, later in the year, Nothing's CMF brand came out with their own headphones, and I like them way better. First of all, they're $79. Secondly, they have awesome sound quality, awesome ANC, and they have like something like 50 hours of battery life. They're insane. And they're way more comfortable because they're plastic and they're lighter. Look, this goes for Apple's AirPods Pros as well, like, or Max or whatever they're called, the cans. Like, metal is not suited for headphones, okay? Like, unless you use titanium or something super light. Like these bigger dynamic GT 770 Pros I'm wearing, you know, they're wired. They're not smart. They don't have any connectivity, wireless or anything. But the only thing metal in them, because they're professional headphones and they get thrown on the floor and abused, is the actual cup holders, these metal pieces here. If you're watching on Patreon, folks, you'll see what I'm saying because I'm pointing out the thing. There's a video version on Patreon, folks. You get it a day in advance every week for $5 a month. So check out patreon.com/TNKGRL. But anyway, that's, you know, and it's aluminum. So it's not super heavy. Like, I feel like Apple kind of did it wrong with this giant chunk of aluminum. And so did Nothing. There's so much metal there that it's just, anyway, there's a new pair coming. This is a rumor. Nothing Headphone A. So, you know, the A is kind of like the mid-range. So I guess the headphone last year with the high end, this is going to be mid-range. But based on what CMF did at the low end, oh my God, this should be a winner because the CMFs, I still think the CMFs are the best headphones I reviewed last year for the bang for the buck value, everything all around. Really? Like if you can get a pair, like reach out to Lewis or something, get a pair because, dude, $79 will blow your mind.
Well, I do have a pair. I haven't had a chance to check them out. I definitely,
even if you don't make a video, use them because they're just incredible.
You talked me into it. Yeah.
Do they have as good ANC as the Sonys on a plane? No. Is it good enough?
Of course not.
Hell yeah. But the sound is superb. And most importantly, they're very comfy and the battery life is insane. So, you know, and for $79 at that point, they're disposable. I'm sorry, some of you might not feel that way, but
don't say that.
Like, look, less than $100. Come on. It's
I know what you mean.
You don't want to lose them, sure. But like if you do, and also the ear cups spin off. So you can interchange them with different colors. So you can like do the MKBHD thing with the red headphones and the black cups or the other way around, which is very fun. And they sell them, I think, for like $19 for the cups. So you can just change the colors and have fun with them. So, you know, cool. That Nothing is making a mid-range pair now has me intrigued, to be frank. Yeah.
I would definitely check those out. I mean, they're, you know, the thing about earbuds is one of those things that like everyone could use a pair of earbuds. So it's not just like random, only like the techie nerds can use them. Everyone can use a good pair of earbuds, and having them accessible at all price points and then different styles that you may like. It's all for the merrier. It's a good thing.
Yeah. And this, you know, this is cool because, you know, Nothing's done a ton of earbuds before and CMF as well, but this is headphones and it's their mid-range and they haven't done a mid-range pair yet. So I'm kind of curious to see what happens. Couple of other things that, you know, since we talked about AirPods a bit here. Apple has a whole bunch of leaks and rumors coming here. Well, you know, it's been going on for a while, but this I felt was worth it. The iPhone Fold details have leaked. So looks like, you know, pretty solid sources here, you know, that the volume buttons might be positioned on the top right edge, like an iPad. So they basically don't want any, you know how folding phones generally have this design where some buttons are on the right side, some button on the left side. So when it's closed, and they're all on the right side, you know, but when it's open, you got a bit here and a bit there. Apple apparently doesn't want anything on this panel, the panel with the front glass behind it. So they're going to relocate apparently the volume controls on this panel on the right side on the top, which is interesting because it'll match the iPad. And of course, their rumors are saying that it'll have a hole punch camera front and back or inside and out, which is, you know, I guess they're not going to do Face ID. It's going to be Touch ID on the power button, which is okay. But some people are going to probably be
I'm okay with
ruffled.
that.
But I mean, it's going to be like a $2,000-something phone. So I wonder how people are going to feel about that. Because they're used to Face ID now. So I don't know.
It's gonna be interesting. I wonder. I wish I can go back and look at all the early rumors for products and for Apple products and see how close they are really when they're actually announced. I feel like a lot of rumors will overhype things. Like, for example, the new iPhone, like the back of the iPhone supposedly was a reverse charger, but that little cutout was a reverse charger and it wasn't. So I'm still real bullish on the iPhone Fold. I'm very bullish on it, but I won't put it past Apple anymore. Once the Vision Pro came out, I said, okay, they are really going out of their way to do things cool and exciting, and we'll just see it. We'll see how it does. I don't know. I'm very apprehensive about it, to be honest.
Me too, but I'm also hopeful that after 7 years of folding phones, they're going to nail it. They're going to do the good job.
They should.
Mean, it's going to be pricey for sure, but I think that's going to be thin, and that I think that form factor is going to be a good idea for content consumption, which I think is one of the areas as a Fold user all the time, not the Samsung one necessarily, but generally speaking, folding phones that are book style, I feel that is a bit of a miss, right? You want to watch videos and you have this big screen and it's not really that much bigger than a normal flagship. So I think that, and of course the fact that we're hearing rumors of Samsung doing a wide Fold 8 alongside the regular Fold 8, and then, some Chinese manufacturers, I think Honor, there's rumors of them doing a wide one as well. So I think it's funny in a way because Oppo, when they started with the Find N and the Find N2 and 3, those three phones were passport form factor, like, widescreen when open, just like the original Pixel Fold. Remember that? It had that passport form factor, right? So I think it's funny we're going back to that, and it's Apple that's legitimizing it. We all went away from it, and here is Apple coming back going, hey, we're doing this. And so that's the only way I'm apprehensive. I think that they'll have, we won't have a telephoto, but they'll have great cameras, they'll have great displays, great performance, it'll be thin, it'll be expensive. Some things like Face ID won't be there, but Touch ID will be, and that's okay by me. But I think the most important thing is, how is that form factor going to work out for those of us who've used foldables before, and the people out there who are aspiring to get an iPhone foldable, right?
Well, most of the people that are picking those up are people who have never used a foldable, right? That's the market. I mean, unfortunately, here in America, once Apple does something, then it becomes a real thing. And the reason I say that was with wireless charging, where we had so much wireless charging going on forever. And I remember I was excited about it. At McDonald's, it's supposed to have wireless charging for your phone. And listen, I'm old enough to remember all those stories. And then, like, nothing ever happened with it. I went and bought $80 chargers and all this stuff. And then Apple made the stupid MagSafe thing. And then now it's just normal and standard. No one thinks about it. Every car has it now,
This is the thing, right? Apple nailed it with MagSafe. And the fact that Pixel is the only other brand right now, Google, that has the magnets, it's like, the others have it. Like, I have a bunch of like OnePlus and Oppo phones, but it's on a case. Samsung's done it on a case. Samsung, the fact that nobody's doing it built in yet is driving me insane. It's like, we've seen, like, Apple made this happen. Let's face it, it was a really good idea. Like, again, they took something we had for a decade, wireless charging, and they made it good, right? And so I'm like, why isn't everybody following suit? Like, I think that reverse wireless is very hard to do with magnets. So I think that's part of it, right? And a lot of Android phones can do reverse wireless, but not the new Pixels, right? And not the iPhones. And so I think Samsung's always been like, oh, you could put your Galaxy Buds on the back of your, S25 Ultra and charge, right? So I don't know. I think that they're resistant because they're not seeing it in their part of the world. Because in Asia, I think MagSafe, wireless charging in China is not a thing. And even though they have it on their iPhones, and in Korea, it's the same. I don't think it's a thing. I think they're much more into fast charging, which they can do much better with wired, right? So it's
for sure.
I don't know. I think it's interesting. But I'm more excited about this other rumor because I always thought that when Apple was going to hit folding phones, they were going to hit it with a flip phone. Right? Because here's the thing. the one thing about that fold, the iPhone Fold that's coming that I'm excited about and I want to find out about more, and I want your thoughts on this is, will it act like an iPad when it's open? Will it run iPad OS when it's open? If it does that, if it turns from an iPhone OS to an iPad OS when it's open, holy crap, then you have an iPad mini in your hands with all of the software, all the benefits. And if they add stylus support, or Apple Pencil support, with obviously a custom new pencil that costs, $99, that's an accessory that you buy. If they do that, like, I think that'll be kind of crazy, right?
Yeah, that would be. I mean, that would fix the foldable issue. That would fix a lot of things that people have, where you open it up, it feels like you just have a big phone. Like, if it somehow converted the apps, that would be amazing. That would actually compel me to use a foldable phone daily. Because right now I do not, because of that reason.
But that's why I thought they were going to start with a flip, and all those rumors are back. So now we're getting rumors again from analysts in Korea saying, "Hey, Apple's going to make a flip phone." And I'm like, I think for a lot of iPhone users, that would be the sweet spot, because like I look at Theo.
That's what I've been saying. Yeah,
Theo has a Razr and an iPhone. And they don't like the iPhone because it doesn't fold, and they don't like the Razr because they run Android. I mean, they like the Razr, it's good, but they don't like it as much as the iPhone because they're familiar with the iPhone. So I think for them, they would love a flip iPhone. And so I think a lot of people would feel comfortable with that.
I think the flip iPhone makes a lot more sense than the fold iPhone today, because I think there's a lot of people who feel the phones are getting too big. And so now they have another smaller option, and then it can get bigger if they needed to. I think that's going to be a bigger market, because I do think people like the idea of the phone flipping. And I can even see like my parents using a phone that flips rather than a phone that folds, in my opinion. I really think that will sell like hotcakes, to be honest. I think that'll be Apple's like number one selling iPhone for a while, if that were to happen. I guess depending on price.
The other thing that confuses me, frankly, about them making a fold first is that if they're going to do what I said, which would be the holy grail of it's an iPad when it's open and it's a phone when it's closed, isn't that so anti-Apple? Because, they want you to buy multiple devices, right? That's why the Mac doesn't have a touchscreen, right? Like, we know that that's the reason. They want you to buy an iPad and a Mac and an iPhone and an Apple Watch. Yeah. So they want you to have 4 screens, 5 if you have an iMac. And part of me is like, I'm kind of going like there's no middle ground here. Either they go full on and make this an iPad when it's open, or it's not at all an iPad when it's open. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're just saying, and I do. So I'm split. I agree with you 100%, and then I don't agree with you 100%. 200% mine.
Same with myself. I don't agree with myself 100%.
Okay, perfect. Because the reason I say that, because Apple makes so much more money on software at this point and services.
Yeah.
So SaaS. So it's just sort of at this point, it's just like, we don't care how you access it, as long as you're paying us for iCloud, as long as you're paying us for Apple TV, as long as you're paying us for music. We don't care. Here's the hardware. Figure it out. Just keep paying $12 a month. Keep paying $30 a month for whatever you have. So I sort of think it's part that way too, where it's just like, we don't care at this point. Just continue to pay us every month.
Yeah, it could be that. And, it also might just be that there's new MacBook Pros that are coming sometime imminently, have a touchscreen and will surprise us. And then Apple's just finally, and it's not running iPad OS, to be clear. I mean, obviously you can run iPad apps on an M-type Mac, but the idea here would be not to finally give Mac OS some touch functionality. And I could totally see Apple doing that. As you're right. They have come back on a lot of things that we thought that they would never come back on. They got rid of the touch bar, which I was never a fan of. I know some people loved it. So respect to those of you who loved it. They've brought back scissor keys instead of the butterfly. They've got the ports back on the Pros. Like, they've done a lot of things. They've gotten, the Pros are thicker than they used to be, but they're better. And so, better thermals, all that stuff. So I think anything's possible. I mean, Apple is making freaking folding phone. Like, I never actually thought that was going to happen. I thought that they were just going to like sit on that forever, but they're not. Like, they're being serious about it. So, hey, I'm excited.
I agree.
I want it.
Yeah, me too.
So Apple, Google, and Samsung are the ones I want to, we did Apple. So Samsung and Google. So Google has a Pixel 10a coming because they teased it. They just went right up and published a video and went like, here we go, this is what it looks like. And guess what? Right now, from what we can see, this is a copycat of the 9A. Even the specs that are leaking say that it has a G4 chip tensor, not a G5, which is what's in the Pixel 10 series. Why
Yeah.
that is, I don't know. Maybe it's because of cost. Like they want to keep the price point the same. And maybe the only thing they added was like MagSafe magnets, like, like Pixel Snap.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like, because remember on the Pixel 10 Pro Fold, they only added the magnets basically and a new chip. At least I put the new chip in, but everything else was exactly the same chassis, same cameras, same battery. I think the battery was a little bigger. But my point is, I can see a slightly bigger battery and magnets, but the rumors right now point at everything else being the same as last year. Same size almost, probably the same cases even. So part of me is excited because I love me a good Pixel, especially an A, because they're affordable and they're great, and you get the good entryway into the Google ecosystem and all that as a Pixel user myself. But I was hoping for a little more, maybe a G5 chip, because it's like, if I have to, I'm going to review this for Hot Hour. You know it. And you know how painful it is to review like a phone that's almost identical to last year's phone?
I've done it. I've done it many times with Samsung.
Like right. So the 10 Pro Fold last year, I was so happy about the 9 Pro Fold, right? It was like a little thinner than the OnePlus Open, which was kind of my go-to and my happy folding phone at the time. And I was like, it's a Pixel. Sure, you don't have a Snapdragon chip, but it's thinner and it's a Pixel and it's awesome. And then I gave it like editor's choice. And then a year goes by, 10 Pro Fold comes out and I'm like, wah, 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 sad trombone. Great phone still, but it's a year ago phone. Yeah. Like compared to like the thin phones that we got, like the Z Fold 7, it looks like a chunker. It's like the chip is not as good as a Snapdragon. The cameras are no different. Oh, cool. Whoa, you got Pixel Snap. Oh, well, that's actually cool. But like, it was so bummer because it was so hard to review because I wanted to love it,
Yeah. No, I get, I definitely understand that. And, I have to remind myself that like a lot of phones are not designed for someone to buy the same phone year over year, right? It's like designed for someone to buy the phone after they had a phone for a couple of years. So like, I know we get it. We are bummed out that the phone doesn't change much for someone that's buying that phone who's had, a Pixel 5 or a Pixel 7 and now they're getting a 10. It is a big change to them.
For sure.
So
yeah.
I kind of keep that mindset when I'm doing it, but I'm so excited for new stuff. And then we don't get nothing new. I'm just like, oh, I wish it was new.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's mostly the chip because the tensor chips aren't the greatest. And the G5 is a really big improvement over the G4. So I don't know. I think we'll see. Samsung, of course, I said we talk about Samsung. So Samsung has teased the Galaxy S26 series cameras with a bunch of short social media clips showing improvements in zoom performance and low light performance. But here's the thing, okay, Kevin, this is what's tweaking me a bit. We know the leaks so far that none of the camera specs are different on the Ultra. Like nothing has changed. Very little. These phones are going to be super incremental. It's going to be really hard to review them. So I'm wondering because, we haven't really seen Samsung do the AI zoom like Pixel did or like Oppo or OnePlus are doing, where it really goes nuts with the AI if you turn it on and gives you some incredible zoom, like 100x zoom looks solid on a Pixel, I'm wondering if Samsung's finally going to do that because they're doing some good zoom stuff, but they're not doing AI zoom quite yet on the S25 Ultra. Not to the extent that Pixel and the Chinese are doing.
Yeah.
So I think this is what it's going to be, right?
Yeah, I mean, Samsung's story is really all about software now, where their camera system has not changed a lot in the last few years, especially on the Ultra line where camera is their main selling point. Well, I guess now it's Galaxy AI is their main selling point.
Yeah.
But it's really everything is really software based for them. So I'm not surprised if they call the camera system like Galaxy Night Sight or like Galaxy AI Night Sight bespoke with Bixby or
plus
or something like that. Plus. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was something
Ultra.
like that. I mean, yeah. So I as much as I love a good Galaxy Ultra and that is, I consider my workhorse phone. Like when I travel, especially international, that is the phone I bring, right? That is the workhorse phone. It's great. I love everything about it.
It's a great phone.
The last few years have felt the same, but it's sort of like, in my opinion, that they have such, like the lead on as far as like when I think of an ultra premium phone, I think of that phone is like year over year, they're not changing much, but the small refinements is enough to keep me happy. But then when the OnePlus 15 came out, I was like, this is a better phone. And that was the first time I've said that in a very long time. So I really think that Samsung's, I don't want to say arrogance, but maybe their complacency is kind of coming back again. And
Yeah.
I would hope to see something new, but I don't know if this is the year. Now, not to jump ahead about the rumors, but do you know what feature I'm most excited about?
The privacy screen, we talked about it last week. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't want to I don't want to over harp on that, but that's something
No,
we
no,
haven't
go
seen
for it.
before.
I mean,
and that,
it's
that excites
unique.
me. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't have anything that I'm not trying to hide anything at this point, but at the same time, it's just cool to have that feature. And I know so many people buy privacy screens and things like that, and that privacy screen reminds me of you test cars as well, like the Cadillac, where they have that
Yeah,
privacy
yeah.
screen that only the passenger
Exactly.
can see. So they have stuff like that built into the phone. I think that's true innovation. It may be like a minor thing, but it's showing that they are thinking outside the box and giving us a feature we've never seen before. And that's what makes me excited about technology in general, just new stuff. And I think
No,
that's
for
pretty
sure,
cool.
for sure.
Yeah.
I think also they revealed what the look of the back of the S26 Ultra will look like, and it looks a
Hmm.
lot more like the S25 Edge did. You know, with a little kind of plateau underneath the cameras. It's a very cool look. I like the look of it. It's good. But you know, you mentioned the OnePlus 15, and I think the thing is, I agree with you that I think the OnePlus 15 is a better phone than the S25 Ultra in many ways, unless you need a stylus. But then there is this phone here, the Oppo Find X9 Pro, which is still way better than the OnePlus 15. It's like, and this is what we're not getting because Oppo is
Yeah.
trying to keep the best stuff to themselves by giving OnePlus the one level below, right? So just think about, you're saying the OnePlus 15 is better than the Galaxy, yet the Galaxy is kind of the standard for most of North America. And so
Hmm.
imagine how good this phone is, right? Like this is the thing. Like to me, this is the best flagship still,
Yeah.
and it came out in October. This is the best overall in terms of overall balance, the best flagship money can buy right now, Oppo Find X9 Pro. People think, oh, it's all about the cameras. No, 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 no. The rest of it is freaking
Yeah.
awesome. And it's like a OnePlus 15 on steroids. And then on top of that, you get all the camera stuff, Hasselblad and whatever else. It's like, it's crazy to me that we're still not getting all the good stuff, right? Like, it's like,
Yeah.
what the hell,
That's a bummer.
guys?
Yeah.
You know?
I and you know, you said you can only imagine. I can only imagine. I've never used it.
Dude, you got to get one. It's so freaking good.
I want to check it out. I wish it would happen, but it is what it is. But no,
Yeah,
it seems like a really cool phone. As much as I love the OnePlus phone, I couldn't imagine how great that phone is. So, yeah.
But you know what? I wanna talk about OnePlus and Oppo and Realme real quick because they're the three kind of sister brands, and then I want to unbox a phone for the audience. But
Let's do it.
the OnePlus 16 has leaked a bit, and so I don't know if you've been following the saga with Oppo, but you know, Oppo
yeah.
kind of like Xiaomi. The Find X series has a TikTok cycle where they come out with the main one in October now because right after the Snapdragon and the MediaTek chips come out, so that's October, right? So that's what I just showed you guys. The Find X9 Pro came out, and the Find X9 is like slightly detuned. It's more like the OnePlus 15, but in a smaller screen. And then they do an Ultra later, which is like the crazy camera one. That's the one that's like just camera mad. It's like a camera with a phone attached to it. And then the talk cycle is like right around MWC, they come out with like an S series, and it's only generally available in China. So it's like it will be called the Find X9S and Find X9S Pro. If there's a Pro, I don't know. But that one is rumored to have two 200 megapixel sensors. The one I just showed you has a telephoto that's 200. So that's the difference between that and the OnePlus. Imagine a OnePlus with a Hasselblad again and a 200 megapixel tele. That's what the Find X9 Pro is. So the Find X9S has supposedly two 200 megapixel sensors, a main and the telephoto. But it goes beyond that because now we're hearing rumors that the OnePlus 16 and the Oppo Find X10 Pro, so the successors to the 15 and the 9 Pro that came out around the same time in October, are going to have dual 200. So I think this is where the Oppo group, OnePlus, Oppo, Realme, is going with their camera systems for next year for their flagships. We're going to get a 50 megapixel ultra wide and two 200 megapixel main and telephoto sensors. holy crap, like this is insane to me.
That's insane. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very insane.
But
Yeah.
it's definitely shaping up to be like that. So I'll put some links to, like I always do on the podcast, for all the news here. This is from GSM Arena, which is one of my main sources of news, and also they have a great database if you're looking for phone specs. And then Realme. So I've shown you folks before, if you've watched the podcast, those of you on Patreon, this Realme 16 Pro Plus. In fact, I want to remind everyone that I'm doing a giveaway of this. I have a second one of these. This is in a case right now, the transparent TPU case. This is a mid-range phone from Realme that costs $450, Kevin, and it's got the same camera specs as the OnePlus 15. So
nice.
For $450, you don't get the Snapdragon awesomeness. You get a 7 Gen 4. You get a plastic chassis. You don't have wireless charging, but it has a 7,000 milliamp hour battery. It has a nice 144 hertz display in the front here, and it has 80-watt charging. So it's very much like a baby version of OnePlus 15 at $450. And I'm giving one away to the Canadian audience. So if you're Canadian and you live in, you have to be a resident. You don't have to be a Canadian, as long as you live in Canada, because I want to ship it to Canada. So I got a second one. I mentioned that in last week's show. Go to my Instagram, go to my TikTok, follow me, comment on the post that mentions the phone. You'll see there's a video that shows this phone. So the reason I'm bringing the Pro up, the 16 Pro Plus or whatever it's called, is that there's also a Pro and there's a base model, but the base model didn't come out at the same time for whatever reason. The base model just came out, and check out how much it looks like an iPhone Air. It's crazy. So it's not thinner. It's not as thin as an iPhone Air. It's like a 7 millimeter or something. It's not super thin, but the design of it is interesting. And the other thing is, on the right-hand side of that camera visor, you could say it looks like a Pixel as well. Like it's kind of somewhere between the Pixel and the iPhone Air in terms of design, because it's thinner than a Pixel, but it's thicker than an iPhone Air. And of course, this is a base model, so it's, it doesn't have as much nice specs. But it has a selfie mirror. Did you see that?
Okay.
No, I did not see that. That's not a camera. That's a selfie mirror on the very right side.
Oh, really? Okay.
Which is like, when is the last time we saw that? Like Blackberries and like flip phones?
Long time ago, yeah.
Anyway, so that was kind of interesting. This, I don't know if it's coming to the West. It probably will, because the one that I showed you is a Western phone. It has Google Play and everything. But it's not sold in North America, of course. So, yeah. Look, it's just mostly because I was like, okay, there was a 16 missing, and I've talked about the other two, and now here it is, and it looks like a Pixel or an iPhone Air, and it's kind of interesting. So I've got the Red Magic here, the 11 Air, to want to show the audience a bit. So, the Air is now available in the US, so you can buy it from their Red Magic US website. Okay, Air. Let's talk about this word, because this is not a thin phone. Like, this is a thinner... This is thinner than the Pro that they make. The Pro has both a fan and liquid cooling. It's the first phone in the world with real liquid cooling, and it has a massive vapor chamber. But this is thinner because it's missing the cooling. So it's got the fan, but not the liquid cooling. And because of that, it's thinner. Also, instead of a Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, it has an 8 Elite, last year's chip, so they can keep the price down. Now, remember, last year, the 11 Pro, when it came out, was $750, and I think this is cheaper. This is like something like $649, which is not bad for an 8 Elite gaming phone.
It's not bad, no.
Right?
Not bad at all.
Here's the box, and then let's open it up real quick for the audience. And the first thing you see here is a divider. I'll pull it out and then show you what's in it in a minute. Then you got the phone itself. Thankfully, it slides out of this very easily, so I can just show it to you. Check it out. There's the fan.
Oh, really?
So it's got some IMEIs there,
cool.
but look, it's actually quite a bit thinner. It's about, this is like 7.5 millimeters versus like 9, So this is basically, if you remember, the iPhone 17 Pro Max is about 9 millimeters. So that's the same thickness as the Red Magic 11 Pro. And this is, as you can see, but on the Pro, the cameras are flush, whereas this one, the cameras are sticking out.
Okay.
You still have that gaming key. When you switch this, it changes the launcher to a gaming launcher. Just a horizontal. Cool. And has all your games in a carousel. Here's your ports and your stereo speakers. Here's your trigger buttons are here. They're shoulder buttons. They're made of capacitive. And then you got your other buttons here. Nothing much on top. Again, cameras and the fan right here. Very shiny, this thing. Sorry, I'm facing a very bright window. And of course, I didn't turn it on, but you get the idea. And then the rest of the box, well, we've got another little divider here that says Red Magic. But here, you get a charger and a cable, a red cable, black charger. I believe this charger's at 80 watt. So the 80 watt charger and then USB cable. And then the little other divider there, I think has a case in it. They always come with a case. And remember, this is sold like this in the US. So you're going to get all these accessories for whatever that price is, which is pretty great. I mean, you know, you don't get chargers from anybody else anymore. SIM removal tool here, and then TPU case. It's actually nice because it's frosted. So it'll make the phone less shiny. Good for photos. Anyway, that's it. The reason I brought this up is because, you know, they've never sent me the Air before. It's the second year they're doing the Air, which is kind of like basically slightly cheaper, slightly thinner. But in the past, the Air didn't have the fan. And so then they've added the fan now, but they've removed the liquid cooling and they've kept last year's chip. So the display and all that other stuff is going to be the same. It's a big screen. It's got an under-display camera for the selfies. And the camera system in the back is pretty boring. It's like just one is a ultra wide and one is a main sensors. And, you know, the thing about these phones is not, the cameras are not that great. Like the sensors are okay, but their camera software is. So I would say they're gaming phones. If you're gaming,
gaming phones, yeah. You can't have it all.
If you want the cheapest Snapdragon 8 Elite gaming phone that money can buy, this is it. And it's 5G support for the US. So like it'll work on Verizon, it'll work on AT&T and T-Mobile. You don't have to jump hoops to make it work. It's great. So, you know, I do dig the fact that they sent me the Air, and I wanted to share that with you all. So
cool.
Yeah, so let's see what else we got here. Well, okay, so we talked about almost every Chinese brand that matters right now. I mean, Honor doesn't have too many news this week. Last week, we got a bunch of news. Xiaomi, did you come to MWC last year for the first time?
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. And we were together when we saw the Xiaomi.
I know, you saw that, and wasn't it amazing? So guess what? They're making this a real thing.
Really?
So do you want to tell what you saw? The audience understands what we're talking about. Tell them what you saw last year.
Yeah, let's see if my memory serves me well. But there was basically like an attachment that you're able to put an actual, I believe, micro four thirds lens onto the phone, and you can literally take SLR mirrorless quality photos from the phone, not a fake bokeh, not crazy software, but actual from the lens. And if you have lenses anywhere that are micro four thirds, you can attach it to that phone and use it. And it was like a weird, like Frankenstein type of setup, in my opinion. But being able to take those pictures was really like a really cool experience. And it was something that I felt like would never come out. But seeing this news is surprising, but also kind of cool. Like I love innovation, whether it's very rudimentary, clunky, it doesn't matter. I love innovation because, yeah, as they always say, this is the worst it's ever going to be. So maybe next year's version will be a little bit better, and the following version to be more fluid. But
and maybe they make an ecosystem, right? Maybe they have multiple sensors you can put on. So here, a few more clarifications. So last year they showed us Xiaomi 15, which is their base model flagship. Just really good cameras. They're Leica branded, and they had modified it to add magnets like MagSafe and do wireless charging through the magnets, reverse wireless charge somehow. And so that thing, that micro four thirds lens and sensor in one piece that you mentioned, would magnetically go pop on there, right? And it would like basically power the camera system. So you can't really use it. You remember how the Sony one, back in the day, Sony made one like that clipped onto your phone? That one had its own battery, so you could remove it and put it somewhere else. This one, you need to have it attached to the power ports.
Gotcha,
but how does it get the data directly from the sensor to the ISP in the phone? Because that's the thing, right? The Sony was a self-contained camera. I did the processing on board, had its own storage on board. This does have none of that. This communicates directly with the chip inside your phone, the ISP. And you notice when we saw it at MWC, there's no contacts for that. The way that worked was laser light. So
crazy.
They had an opening behind the magnets there with a laser light sensor, and the power powers the module and powers the sensor. And the sensor sends its data back through a laser light, basically high speed data connection through laser, which is more reliable than wireless because there's no interference. And wireless would probably not even be fast enough for the kind of amount of data you get from a sensor to capture and to send to the ISP. So that's the part that I'm kind of like, holy crap, this is super sci-fi. Now, so this was last year. And so that's what we saw. And we're like, okay, this is a cool concept. But now the rumors are very strong, and we might even see this at MWC, that they're going to come out with an actual production version of this. Now, is it going to be one of the current phones? No, because those phones have been out. The Xiaomi 17, 17 Pro, and 17 Pro Max, and 17 Ultra. These phones are out in China, at least right now. I don't know if they're coming out as well in Europe and at MWC, but we don't know yet. All I'm saying is that this might be a separate phone, Kevin, that they make just for that purpose and start a new line of phones that have this camera laser interface in the back. And then maybe instead of just one lens, or have interchangeable lenses on it. It'd be real. I mean, I think it's cool. Will it leave China though, right? That's the problem.
Yeah.
We don't know.
It kills me because all the cool stuff isn't over here. It's the whole thing where like, Samsung and Apple dominates here, but no one is bringing stuff here because they will always dominate because of that, but this seems cool. It's the way you explained it, like the whole laser thing, and then it's getting the data from that. Like that is way above my knowledge of things, but that I'm excited. I'm excited for that. I wonder how that's really going to happen.
I'm just parroting what I saw in the, in the press release. Like
Sure,
it's like, I don't know exactly how it works, but it does make sense to me that if you're going to have the sensor data sent to the ISP in a timely manner, like you need some really good connectivity.
Direct,
either pogo pins but it would take so many pogo pins that it would become unreliable, and especially if it's magnetic. So I think they went with laser because it's very reliable,
Interesting. Okay.
And then, of course, wireless would work, but it probably wouldn't be enough bandwidth unless you did something like millimeter wave. And then you have to worry about interference and FCC approval. With laser, you don't have to worry about any of that.
Interesting.
So that's basically it in terms of phone news. Did you see this Retrova or whatever it's called, teleconverter lens for the iPhone? It's like a kit that you can buy. I don't know.
When you sent it over, I looked at it a little. I looked over a little bit. I've never heard of this until now.
I've never heard of this either, but I saw it in the news feed there, and I was just like, this is cool too because it has. So it's a camera grip with an extra battery that attaches to the bottom of your iPhone, like basically plugs into the USB-C connector of your iPhone. And it has its own USB-C connector for charging and all that. It has a micro SD card slot, so it can actually, become a thumb drive, like a flash drive for your iPhone. You know how the iPhone supports log video to an external device? That's what this micro SD card slot is for. And then it has, it looks like it's all really high-end metal pieces and stuff. It has like, a dial that you can program. It has a zoom toggle that you can adjust. It has a shutter button. It has a programmable like video record button. And it's all looking like super nice quality metal. It could be plastic though. And then, there's a case as well. And the case lets you basically mount this teleconverter kit, bayonet style, onto one of the lenses, I guess, in the back. And who did that? Like, I don't have it with me on my reachable here to show the Patreons, but this phone here, the Oppo Find X9 Pro, has this Canon thing that attaches to the back of it. It's a teleconverter that turns the 3x telephoto into a 10x telephoto optically. So in addition to that, you get all the crazy AI zoom. So with a teleconverter on this Oppo, you can go up to 200x zoom, which is insane. But the point is, you can now get this kit, which is relatively affordable too, for an iPhone 17 Pro, 17 Pro Max. And it's only costs like 184. I mean, it's a lot of money. But if you're serious about photography and you want to use an iPhone, like a lot of these Chinese brands have these in-house teleconverter kits. It's not the first. Oppo's not the first one. Vivo used to do it. I think Xiaomi did it as an option you could buy from them. So now there's rumors that Apple might do a teleconverter kit, like an official Apple one for the 18. And I'm like, that seems un-Apple-like, right?
That seems very un-Apple-like. That's surprising, to be honest. But like I said, once the Vision Pro came out, I was like, okay, Apple's trying different stuff now. Like all bets are off with the Vision Pro. So at this point, I was looking at the converter kit, and it's made by a reputable company, PGY. Like they
Okay.
actually make
I haven't heard of them. Okay, cool.
yeah, so they actually make they make some decent camera gear. So it's not just a fly by night company. It's a legit company that makes some pretty good camera gear. So that perked my ears up a little bit more. Yeah, that's interesting. And looking at it, I know you're gonna drop a link. Looking at it, it looks really cool. Like the case and the grip.
No,
It
dude,
makes
it's super hot.
it looks
I
great. Now
know.
I've played with a bunch of grips and cases and shift cam and things like that. It always felt like, kind of clunky and not high quality. This looks great. This looks like a little Fuji, like looks
Yeah,
like a little high end
exactly.
Fuji
Yeah,
point and click,
totally
which I
does.
think is really cool. Yeah.
No, I dig it. That's why I was like, since we're talking about crazy camera phones here, let's talk about what you can do with an iPhone. For those of you who are, kind of stuck in the iPhone Apple ecosystem, and that's okay. It's a good ecosystem you've stuck in. I'm a Mac user. I get it. Like, I'm just saying I'm not an iPhone user primarily. So I have one, obviously. But I think that this thing, it's got me excited because here's the thing, right? Having used the Canon, the teleconverter adapter for the Fine X9 Pro, it's cumbersome. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna take it with you when you go on a purpose photo walk. Like you're going for a photo walk. You have maybe like a little fanny pack or something that you can put the lens in when you're not using it, because you have to remove it when you're not using it. Otherwise, it hides the other cameras, Kevin, on the Oppo. You can't
Yeah.
use the ultra wide or the main sensor with the Canon thing attached to it. I say Canon as in like, a gun, like boom. It
Oh,
looks
gotcha. I thought you meant
not Canon,
like
not the
compatible with
brand. No,
Canon.
not the
Okay.
brand. I meant Canon with two
Oh,
ends. Like it looks like you got a
okay.
gun attached to the back of your phone. It's really crazy. Anyway, but with the thing attached, you can't use the other two lenses, so you're constantly removing
Yeah.
it, putting it on. It slides on. It's really easy, but the problem is that you have to put it somewhere when you're not using it. So it's very intentional. And I think this adapter for the iPhone is the same, right? Like you're not going to carry this with you every day. You
Yeah.
might leave the case on every day, but when you want to go for a photo walk, you put the grip on, you put the
Uh-huh.
teleconverter on, you go for your photo walk. You maybe take off the teleconverter when you want to use the other cameras and swap back and forth, and you carry it in a bag or in a pocket or something.
Yeah.
You have to be really intentional, which I think is very niche, okay? Even for somebody like me, Kevin, it's very niche. Let's be real.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's cool though. I think it's nice to see, and I didn't know the brand, so you say it's pretty reputable. So I see it's nice to
Hmm.
see a reputable brand of iPhone accessories making something that is right now only available on Android phones in China, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
So pretty cool. Well, that's it for the news and everything we covered. Kevin, do you want to tell the audience where they can find you on the internet, your YouTube channel, your social media, and all that good stuff?
Yeah, for sure. So on YouTube, I'm Kevin the Tech Ninja, and on social media, I'm Tech Ninja Speaks. Trying to get into this whole short form video thing. It's not my cup of tea. I'm more of a long form guy, but come over there and give you some love and check out what I have.
It's hard, isn't it? I've been trying too, and it's
Yeah.
just really hard. It's a lot
No,
of work.
yeah.
I really admire the folks on TikTok and Instagram who are successful. Some of the folks that we all know, creators, because man, like it's so much work. If you guys think that long form is more work, I don't know. To me, I think short form is a different thing. It might not last as long to watch the content, but I find if you do it right, like if you're serious about it, it's a lot of work. And so kudos
Yeah.
to people who do well with that. Speaking of which, my social media handle is Tankgirl, TNKGRL, like the comic book character Tank. Just drop all the vowels on every platform except for TikTok, where my year of birth is at the end. So 69. So Tankgirl, TNKGRL everywhere, and TNKGRL 69 on TikTok. So if you want to, find me on social, add me. I'm primarily on Blue Sky, Instagram, and Threads. That's where I'm most active, but I'm everywhere else. The podcast lives at mobiletechpodcast.com. And if you want, you can subscribe on every platform, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, pretty much any podcasting app. If you go to that URL, you can subscribe to the RSS feed with your like Pocket Casts or whatever. So, if it's your first time here, because Kevin brought you here, please subscribe. If it's your second time here and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And then again, there's a YouTube channel as well. So I have some shorts on there as well, but some longs, and youtube.com/mobiletechpodcast. The last video I published, I think, is one of the last ones, is my hands-on with the trifold from Samsung that I did at CS. crazy cool phone that I'm hoping to get my hands on sometime soon. So stay tuned for that. And then there's a Patreon. I mentioned it halfway through the video, and I showed you, unboxed you the Red Magic 11 Air here. But if you want to support me, $5 a month will buy you the podcast every week, just like the audio version, but you get a video version instead, and you get it a day in advance. And we get extra content. When we go over time, I leave that in there. And when we have bloopers, sometimes FedEx shows up randomly and I unbox a phone that just showed up. It's fresh, that's not under embargo, and it's kind of fun. So you get to see some visuals, you get to see our faces, our facial expressions and all that. So consider supporting me with Patreon, patreon.com/TNKJRL, that's the URL. And finally, I want to thank our sponsor, Mint Mobile. I review a lot of phones, so I'm constantly juggling multiple devices. While that's fun, it also means I'm spending a lot of money for wireless service on multiple SIMs. Thankfully, there's Mint Mobile, and that's who I'm teaming up with for today's podcast. If you want to save money on your wireless service, switch to Mint Mobile. You've probably seen the Mint Mobile ads featuring Ryan Reynolds, but let me quickly tell you how fantastic their service is, especially for tech-savvy early adopters like us. Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for as low as $15 a month, and you don't have to sacrifice any coverage, speed, or data. They're built on the nation's largest 5G network. They keep costs low because they sell direct to you online. They cut out the retail stores and salespeople. Why should you pay more than you have to for access to the same network? In my experience testing phones, Mint Mobile delivers the same data speeds and call quality as the big three for a fraction of the cost. Switching to Mint is super easy. Thanks to their eSIMs, you can sign up and activate immediately right on your phone from the comfort of your home. No more standing around waiting in line at a big wireless store. You can keep your current devices and phone number and easily switch services. And if your phone isn't eSIM compatible, Mint will ship you a new SIM card free of charge. The whole process only takes 15 minutes, and if you get stuck, Mint has a great customer service team to get you through it. All Mint Mobile plans include unlimited nationwide talk and text, plus lightning-fast 5G and free mobile hotspot. Mint will show you how much data you use each month and recommend plans that save you money. Mint also offers a modern family plan that lets you set up a super affordable family plan with as little as 2 lines. Use my link, mintmobile.com/mobiletech, to get premium wireless starting at $15 a month. Stop paying more than you need on your wireless bill and start saving big with Mint Mobile. And Kevin, thanks so much for finding some time and joining me. I really appreciate it. I know you're super busy. This was really great.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course, anytime. We'll have you on again on the show in the future. And folks, we'll have another show next week, so stay tuned for that. Until then, cheers, everybody.
This has been the Mobile Tech Podcast with Tank Girl, proudly presented by worldpodcasts.com. You can visit us online at mobiletechpodcast.com.